great, company mindset. I'm excited to see what you guys do in the future, man. It's really cool that you guys are doing this.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you. That's nice. That's real nice.
Brandon do all the hard work. I'm just here to talk my talk.
You're good at it, bro. I'm telling you, you're good at it, man.
Brandon here to talk.
What do you do outside of podcasting?
Oh, I got a 9 to 5, man. But I also, but I got a bunch of hobbies. I write music. I started doing like little TV show type of series stuff. I'm getting into anime because all my friends are into anime. So like, I'm a bunch of ideas, man. Really, it's never ending. But I got a regular job.
On the anime thing, I'm just going to say you're welcome. You're just opening up a world to you right now that you had no idea about.
Well, it's not so much I'm watching other animes. It's just I like the concept of cartooning, and like, I don't know, it doesn't look as corny as other cartoons. Anime is very, action packed and stuff like that. So I figured, easier to write to.
Well, that's the crazy thing. Like, people think animation strictly has to do with children. Like, that's why I think a lot of people don't watch anime, is because like, even when I talk to my mom and stuff about it, I would be like, you guys don't understand how good these stories are. And the idea that someone sat down and drew this by hand, like, all this is amazing. Like, it's incredible storytelling.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, all right, what's going on, Piglets? It's your boy Taylor B, and I'm joined by my hilarious co-hosts, Daniel and Joey. Welcome to another installment of Culture by the Uncultured, and before we go any further, be sure to click that follow or subscribe button. And remember, Culture by the Uncultured is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Culture by the Uncultured. And today we actually have a special guests, I should say. A close friend of mine, Dillon, and his lady, Loren.
Hello.
They're here to, we're going to talk to them a little bit about the acting field. I'm super excited. Are you guys excited?
I'm super excited.
Stoked.
All right. All right. How are you guys feeling with all the COVID-19 stuff going on? I try to ask the guys how they're feeling every week. How are you guys feeling?
How do you feel?
The quarantine, it's exhausting. I'm kind of over it now, to a point. Just a lot of direction of what things could be, what things may not be. So it's hard to pinpoint what is what. But the whole situation, I think 2020, we're done. Let's go to the next step, please.
Yeah.
But
we're kind of rebellious. I just this morning we woke up and went to the beach. I hopped in the ocean and stuff, and so I'm kind of breaking the rules a little bit. But I really, I'm kind of over it as well, because the whole world's changing. Like, it's not like a little bitty thing. Like, I really try to stress this. Like, governments are going to change, economy's going to change, housing markets are everything's changing. The way we adapt to things, our jobs are changing. So it's a crazy time, man. It's very important for people to kind of upgrade their mindset right now into a new way of living. So I'm excited.
I never thought me living in California, it would be rebellious to go to the beach. You know what I'm saying? Hey, is he building a sandcastle? Ooh, I'm telling.
There was a lot of people out there today, man. It was awesome to see. We went on a hike yesterday. It was beautiful. Where did we go?
Eaton Canyon, Pasadena.
Eaton Canyon, man. I was underneath a waterfall last night. It was incredible, man. I think more people need to start getting out there and not being so afraid, man. A lot of people are under fear right now, and it's crazy times. But there's a lot of good that's gonna happen out of it.
I believe so. There's plenty of good and bad that came with it. For one thing that was good was the traffic. Oh my God. My drive to work every day is like 45, 50 minutes. And now it's been like 35, but I know when they open the streets back up completely, it's going to go back to an hour and a half. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
We got some coffee this morning. It was so nice. Nobody was around. I was like, yeah.
Speaking of coffee, I've been drinking a lot of coffee at work, but I've been trying to get off of that because it's kind of making my stomach feel some kind of way. So I tried that yerba tea.
Mate?
Yeah, yerba mate. I drank 2 of them things. I was up all night. Damn. So shout out to yerba. I think I might have found a what is it called? Just like an alternate to coffee.
Right.
Dude, all right, don't say their name again because they're not paying us. Anyway.
Yeah, with COVID going on, man, I keep telling people you got to really care for your body right now in a way that you haven't probably had to do it before. Like, there's a difference between wanting to get in shape and wanting to be good health-wise than forcing yourself to have to be good right now. Like, people have really got to be healthy in a way that they probably haven't had to do it before. So it's interesting right now.
Oh, yep.
Definitely. I guess since you know this is your first time here on the show, tell us a little bit about your guys' backgrounds and, you know, things that you guys are into just a little bit. You know?
Absolutely, man. My name is Dillon, LeMaster. I am mainly an actor, but I write and direct as well. That's the main focus. Kind of tying into COVID right now, I was going to do my first feature film this year, and it kind of got put on hold with everything going on. But I've done short films. I've been I've been acting since I was 10 years old. Started acting on stage, got into films or independent filmmaking around 16, and then went all the way to 21, where I had my son. I had my son really young, about 18, so kind of forced me to have to step up as a man in a way that I wasn't planned for. And then I joined the Army, was in the Army for 5 years. Loved the Army, but even while I was in the Army, I knew it was going to be a stepping stone. So I got out and then moved to California with, I think I only had a few $1,000s in my pocket and just a dream. And I came out there about four years ago, and then I started acting. It was always professional to me, but that was when I was really, my name was something that could be played around with now. So I started really taking it professionally about 4 years ago. And even now it's been film. Film is my main focus. I'd love to get back on stage one day. But yeah, man, I'm full of energy and life, and there's a lot to me, man. There's a lot of layers, but that's the main gist of it all, I guess. What about you, Miss Mendez?
Oh, okay. So my name is Loren Mendez, and I am also an actress, but I also have a background in medicine. So I also do the acting and do the COVID. They actually stopped us midway in production. Actually, the cops stopped us and we couldn't finish our production. So this whole COVID thing has really impacted all of us for sure. But for medicine, I did go to school for to become a doctor, just for it to be a little, you know, plan B if acting doesn't work. And that's a weird thing to do. But I had a whole history of that and every department, trauma, psychiatry, rehab. So wow. I have a lot of background of that. Life has been good, and life has had its ups and downs and everything. At the age of 12, I lost my father due to cancer. But then at the same time, my sister was born 3 months before he died. So it's like a lot of things have molded me at a younger age, as we all have. But it just shaped us for the future. I think it's all good.
It's definitely a good outlook for sure. Definitely a good outlook. Since you guys are both actors, I have to know this question for myself. First and foremost, what is your guys' favorite movie?
Oh, dude, this is such a hard topic. When I mean I'm a fan of films, like I am a movie fanatic.
Maybe we have to open up that question a little bit, because I know I'm a music buff. If you ask me my favorite song, I'm probably just gonna walk away. So let's do it scenario style. You're on an island, and you I don't know, you find a genie or something, and he's like, "Yo, I got this TV and a tape player, and you could have 5 movies that you could watch over and over and over for the rest of your life."
We're talking about 5. You said 5?
Yeah, pick 5.
Got you, bro. All right, first one for sure, Dark Knight. I'll tell you why. The Dark Knight is probably one of the most amazing films ever created, and it's something that evolved culture in a big way. Like, Batman before that was nothing, and then it was something put on a real scale that Christopher Nolan did. Heath Ledger as the Joker was a performance beyond his whole being, man. Like, the people will remember him for that in legend, acting wise. And it was a great movie. And here's why it's a great movie. You take Batman and Joker and the comic book aspect away from that, and you got a great crime. You got an awesome anarchist. You know, the story and the mythology behind of it is so deep and compelling. I love it.
But before you go to that next one, I got a very important question, and this will tie into what we talked about last week. Do you feel like Batman has to be swole, or can he be skinny and still be Batman?
Dude, I think that's the mindset. Look at, I'll say this.
Good one.
This is a good one right here. Look at Bruce Lee. You take Bruce Lee and you put that mindset, dude, that man did incredible things.
But he's swole.
Was he a big, swole dude? No.
Okay.
I think we're confusing our different definitions of skinny or as opposed to thin and muscular.
Because Bruce Lee was shredding.
He had definition.
Yeah. He was shredded, dude, and he was strong. Because outside of acting as well, this is what I also do martial arts, and there's like I do dancing and all that kind of stuff that ties into that. But like I'm telling you, Batman. You know, there's people right now, if they had a lot of money, like you take some special forces guy and you gave him $1 million, dude, those guys could be Batman tonight. Like they can do so. I mean, you look at somebody who just has to be like an actual swole dude. Like I think Ben Affleck, the way he portrayed Batman was, you know, at least visually cool because he was a brawler. Like he looked like he could tear 10 guys apart with one hand. Like that was cool. I didn't like the idea behind how they did the Batman, but it was very interesting. I think he could be skinny and still be Batman.
Before you continue to another tie-in to something that we asked last week, are you guys excited for the Snyder Cut to be released?
Hell yeah!
All right.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
All right, 4 more movies. Go.
That was one.
That was one. That was one movie. 4 more.
All right, here we go.
Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars.
Okay.
I'm a geek and I like that. Ooh, this is tough, guys.
We kind of got 2 action movies here. I'm surprised you haven't mixed it up just yet.
Dude, I'll throw a little musical and romance in there. Moulin Rouge. I think that was an incredible musical, and I'm a sucker for love, so I'll take a romance movie in there. Oh, dude. Honey, help me out.
She got her own.
I know she got her own thing. I said The Dark Knight. I said Empire Strikes Back. I take Moulin Rouge. I will add a Avengers Endgame because I just need that one to remember how good Marvel films are since the beginning. And then I will end it with Gangs of New York. I'll end it with the Gangs of New York by Martin
Respectable.
Scorsese. That's my 5 right there.
What about you, Loren?
I was actually looking for the name of it. Okay, got it. So the first one would be Awakenings with Robin Williams and Robert De Niro.
Big Robin Williams fan. Kudos on that one.
Absolutely. Inception, my second one. V for Vendetta. For sure, Ace Ventura, to bring that in there. And then Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. That was just amazing.
Ace Ventura. I like this chick. Hold on. Just asking though. Do you guys? You guys are in like an acting field. Do you guys have a specific genre that just kind of calls to you when you're performing, or is it just like the thrill of acting that you can kind of gravitate to a role and just kind of learn it?
Yeah, we connect on this in a deep level. Me and Lo, a little bit of our background is we met while acting actually, and we became friends first, and then we fell in love, and our story.
Ain't that kind of scary? Being an actor and meeting another actor. Like, how you know the whole thing's just to act? Like, is she acting right now? You know,
wait, is she acting? Is he acting?
We argue about this all the time. This is I'm about to put myself in trouble. We argue about this all the time. She has the looks, but we argue about talent all the time. We are so competitive about each other. We'll always be like, all right, I see.
Okay, I got a competition right now. We could pop this off right now. I need an impersonation from both of you.
Oh, I'm really bad for impersonation.
Give me a shot. Give yourself a shot. Go ahead.
I'll try.
Try 2. That way you're not limited to 1. Try 2.
Dude, I don't even know what I want to do.
So who?
Which Ace Ventura do you like? All of them? Have you seen them all?
Oh.
I was like, what's Ace Ventura? There was multiple.
Oh,
no,
okay.
You know what? People don't like it when nature calls. Actually, I think.
What? They're all good.
You don't just stand there, throw me the spirit.
Every damn time I parallel park, I hit him with the kick glove every time.
Like a glove, yes.
Good glove.
Or when he laughs, like I can't do it.
It's in the boat.
So you guys don't really have any impersonations. You're not on that side of acting.
No, I
He
do voice
doesn't.
acting, and I love to impersonate.
That's actually one of my secret dream jobs. I'd love to be a voiceover actor, just because I love doing voices, and if they don't have to see, because I feel like my personal appearance doesn't fit a lot of the sounds and personalities that I'd like to mend to. You know what I mean? So voiceover acting would probably be like my calling to like the entertainment industry. So
Well,
I'm just trying to pick your guys' mind on that. That's why.
yeah, man, and that's why doing this stuff is really cool because I get to talk to people who either I was just helping somebody else out with this was the fact of I get to take people who maybe have been interested in it or think they know about acting before they start, because I would warn anybody before you get into this industry, it's very hard, it's very dangerous, and it's very complicated because it's a lifelong thing that you have to decide to do, because there's going to be times where you're going to be successful, and then there's going to be times where you look at and I know a few people. Lo knows many people. We have friends that are very successful now with their careers, and it's always an up and down, man. Like we met people who were famous one time who now, you'd be very, money doesn't buy happiness. That just because they were successful one moment doesn't mean you're successful for life. That's why the
Right.
difference between being well known and
Yep.
actually a legend. You know what I mean? There's a difference between that. There's a difference.
So I guess it's safe to say that just like the fulfillment and the passion of acting doesn't always equal the same amount of success you would think that comes with it. But
Yeah,
it's a trade off though. Just like any occupation, you obviously you stick with it because you like it to some degree. Hopefully you don't feel trapped. But
Oh,
then
no,
like, you have to be okay with not getting so much recognition as probably the next person simply because a role might differ. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But
Well, I loved it, man. That's why I got into it. I never got into it for the money, and I always talk about it because that's the first thing I chase. I chase glory. I don't really chase fame. I see them as very different. So I hope I'm well known in the fact that you see my work and it makes it interesting for you. But at the same time, um, I don't know. I live a very simple life, and I think other people should. I think people really mistake the difference between, money and glory very easily.
Real quick, you mentioned that it was dangerous.
Yeah.
Do you mean as far as like stunt work or anything like that, or like
Dude,
easy to do on set?
I mean, on a physical way, yeah. Like I like to do my own stunts. I really fight to do my own stunts, and there's going to be a point in my career where I'm going to have to fight to do it even more. But I mean, dangerous in the mental aspect of it.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's something where people have to sacrifice for it. They have to struggle for it.
okay, so
Um,
business question. Are you saying you try to do your own stunts? Like, is there compensation for that as well?
Sometimes. So sometimes if you're doing your own stunts, because legally, a lot of people, especially starting your film or filmmaking, you know, if your main actor gets, you've seen this all the time. Like there's many actors who want to do their own stunts, then they get injured. Now they're stuck months. Well, that company now is paying all these people to be like, okay, well, I still have to pay you, and I still have to take care of you, but we're not making money of this. So now everything's put on hold, because
Everybody can't just be Jackie Chan, is what you're saying.
I think one of the greatest stunt people today working, honestly, it's very controversial, but Tom Cruise. I think that man he's the real deal, man. He'll hang off an airplane and learn how to fly helicopters, and he's an inspiration stunt wise. But when I look at actors like that, I follow that aspect of like, yeah, man, there's something really powerful. Not everybody can do it, like I served 5 years in the Army. I fought competitively. I trained still. My back is busted up, and a lot of people don't know that, but I still want to do that stuff. I still enjoy. I like people knowing that if you see it, it's me doing it. It's not somebody else. There's something.
You can't
more.
pause and be like, "Oh, that guy has a wig on. It's not
Yeah.
even him."
Yeah. Oh my, that is so. It could be a great movie, and when they cut to like a stuntman scene, if the hair is off just a little bit, everybody's like, "Oh, no! Did you see it? Did you see?" That's just so. But yeah, if you could manage to pull off your own stunts and stuff, it's not like the respect level goes higher or lower. It's just very like it's like, wow, he does his own stunts. It's just impressive.
So are you? Can you actually cry on cue, or are they putting like pepper in your eyes? What's really going on?
It differs.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about acting, right? I always tell people this. One of the greatest acting teachers that I ever got to work with was Howard Fine. And he was the guru who trained some of the best in the business. And you have to work from an internal place. It's funny because when people want to be actors, you see this all the time, especially as consumers. You see people want to be actors, but then you put a camera in front of them and they act all awkward, when the truth is what me and you are doing right now is acting. It's not faking it. Acting is the art of living. That's where it gets difficult for people to understand. Like, people want to be an actor, and then what we're doing right now is what you want to see. But you put a camera on somebody, and it's like, oh, I don't know how to speak my lines, and that's not naturally how you would say something. So you ask, could I cry on cue? Well, it's a very difficult question because, if you gave me some time and I thought about, I work from like internal places, so I'm very much a method actor. So what I mean by that is when I'm playing a character, and I have to think of an emotion, it comes from a real place. It comes from a real hard to reach place.
Yeah, to the body. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. Whenever you see me portray an emotion, that's not a fake emotion. If you see me cry, it's because I'm really crying. I'm really in the character of doing it, and it has to come off as real. That's why when people do certain things acting wise, you can see how fake it is because you're not feeling it. I always tell people, you're a great actor if by the end of whatever performance you do, the person can leave that performance or that film and feel what you were trying to make the audience feel. And it's a very big thing. Like, actors are artists and painters with emotions. Like, people don't.
I already asked you that just because I was watching a movie last night, and it was I don't know if you've seen it. It's called Underwater. With
I haven't seen it yet. With Kirsten, I haven't seen it yet.
It was pretty good, but there was just this one scene to where a certain person, passes away, and then they zoomed in on her face. I guess she was supposed to be crying, and like no water came out, and I was like, was that a mishap, or was that like written in, or that's why I was asking about the crying thing.
There's a lot of actors today, and I'm very blunt when I say things as well, but it's out of respect at the same time. There's a lot of actors today that are famous that are not good actors.
Big facts. We have this argument all the time in our group chat for our Culture by the Culture. Our hosts in our group chat to our phones. We always talk about how did you hear about this movie? Blah blah. We're always debating and critiquing people. Just last week, who we get into it with? Daniel?
Nicolas Cage and the Tiger King.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I feel like maybe Nicolas Cage is getting better. But I've seen so many movies where he's the same guy with a different name.
Yeah. I think I love. I'm gonna get in trouble too, but I love The Rock as well. I think he's an amazing guy. He's not a great actor.
Oh,
like, I want to see him do. I want to see him do. Like, if I would challenge him, and I think he's gonna do this soon anyway. I would say give that man like an epic drama. Like, he did Hercules, but the acting still and the way
hated that movie.
Yeah, it wasn't a good film.
It's just his build. I feel like people who write movies, or certain people, I'm not going to say everybody because I love writing myself, but a lot of people who design these characters and scenes, they do take into account a lot of how he looks. And it's hard to ignore the fact that The Rock is massive. So if you give him a role where it doesn't look easy on the eyes, like The Rock chilling doesn't look like anybody else just chilling. The Rock chilling still looks like he's ready for some action because the dude's just yoked. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just buff, and then he's got like that baby boy kind of smile. So it's like, is he the gentle giant? Is he the aggressor? Obviously, he plays the aggressor great when, what we saw in the Fast and Furious movies. But it's like trying to write for The Rock is only going to get you so far. I think The Rock is only going to develop when The Rock wants to develop.
And don't get me wrong, he's still talented. You know what I mean? Like, it's still entertaining to watch that guy. But what I mean a great actor, I'll tell you who a great actor is Daniel Day-Lewis. That man was a great actor. Why? Because let's take Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy. I really admire these guys because every time they step into a new role, that's a new human being being born. You will never say that one person acted the same way twice. in a film.
Oh, big facts. That's just like how every time Kevin Hart's in a movie, it's still Kevin Hart.
Yeah, yeah, and it's talented, and that's what I'm saying. You can be a good actor, and there's a lot of good actors nowadays, but being great actors, it's something much deeper, man. It's really hard to do that and be at that level.
Would you say that there's some of your favorite actors? Because that's totally a question I have for you guys.
Yes.
What are some of your favorite actors and actresses?
Yes. I'll let Miss Mendez talk about it.
Okay. For was it nowadays? There's some good ones, to be honest. There are some good ones. For sure, Joaquin Phoenix for the recent ones, for the young audience that don't know much, for like going back. For sure that.
I saw him in that Joker movie.
Sorry?
Joaquin Phoenix was the one in the Joker, right?
Yes.
The recent Joker movie. Yeah, he played insane pretty well in that one.
Yeah, just the whole transformation of his whole, like, the body weight and just the whole how he did it. It's just miraculous.
He's fantastic. I said a few already. I think Leonardo DiCaprio is fantastic. I think Tom Hardy is fantastic. I think, Meryl Streep is always put up there. Tom Hanks. Jennifer Lawrence is a good actress, I think, in many ways.
I love Tom Hanks too, by the way. You guys hit a few of my favorites already. Robin Williams and Tom Hanks is up there for me.
Yeah, Robin Williams, man, I still watch some of his stand-up and I laugh to this day. That man was a genius.
Also Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey is a genius as well.
Him too. Like I said, I love voice acting. So like all those comedians that can commit to serious roles and then became writers and stuff, they're all like my idols, like low key for movies.
You can do it, bro. Like I just said, if there's any way that I can help you, man, like anybody who's serious about wanting to do it, it's a lot more simpler. I can't even talk right now. It's a lot more simpler than most people think it is. I think people just overcomplicate it, or you start something, and they just don't know how to do it. You know what I mean?
I think. Do you have any emotion? Like I feel like in the movie industry or the film industry, there's two, or for me, I don't know the ins and outs, but I feel like there's two ways to approach how people are constructing a movie. I feel like a really good storyline will write a movie and have ideas of maybe this kind of person can fit this role, this kind of person can fit that role, but hold auditions. And then there's movies where they write a movie and cater it to the 3 or 4 people they already have in mind, which is why you have actors like Kevin Hart and, like actors who kind of fit the same mold all the time.
John Cena's in it now, even though he was
big facts. And when they've tried it with so like Vin Diesel, he's always kind of like, I mean, I guess I got used to watching the Fast and Furious movies, but then there was movies where he was like trying to be soft or trying to be this. I feel like it felt super forced and it just wasn't working for me.
Yeah, and that's the challenging part, right? Like that's where we want to keep pushing people to be better than what they are, right? So those actors right now make money doing what they do, and now it's comfortable. And us as a consumer, this is where like it's a business and the mindset behind filmmaking. I look at it in all different angles. Is us as consumers go pay for those movies that those people act in, and they act the same way and the same way and the same way. So I'm making money doing the same thing that I've been doing. Why do I need to get better? And then they fail as artists, I think, in many ways. I think the same way with music. I think nowadays we do not have the same quality artist. Mm-hmm. We have people making music, but it's not good music.
Oh, I completely agree.
That's what it is.
There's definitely a complacency in success nowadays. And I'm not trying to say social media completely fed that, but it definitely gave a lot of people with a lot less raw talent the ability to be broadcasted. You know what I'm saying? So, it's give and take. That's why you can't be in like a film industry and just be filled with negative thoughts, because you're never going to progress personally if you're always worried about the next person. Just like if you can body a role better than somebody else, but their name is more well known at the time, so they get a role and you don't, you know what I mean? Even though you probably know I could have played this better.
Yeah, and this, sadly, a lot of people don't know this about the business, but this happens all the time, and it's sad for actors to try to go around this and work through their careers like this. But I was talking to a casting director one time, and he told me a story about how the idea that these two women came in for this role was down to the last two. Uh, One was extremely more talented than the other, but the other one had bigger following. Guess who got the role? The one with the bigger following.
Yeah,
Not
that's
the talented one.
that's
Yeah.
disheartening right there.
But that's because they know that if I get that person with 1,000, 2,000, 20,000, whatever it may be, I'm getting those 20,000 people to come to this movie because that person has that. So marketing is very challenging for anybody right now, because the question now that we have as people who create content and people who are artists and all that is, where do we stand in the line between what's good
Right.
and what's just normal?
And the part that I feel is kind of hard is it's not easy to just wait it out, because there's plenty of actors who have, over the course of years, their longevity to their career, which is already a success story, because if you weren't good, you wouldn't just keep making movies,
Yeah.
But longevity allows you to kind of create your own scenarios so that other actors who normally wouldn't be seen are. So like, somebody I give major props to is like Adam Sandler. He might not have always had the major movies, but he had comedies, and then as he started getting into his own, Happy Madison, blah blah, now we know all of his friends that are in all of his movies, they're all like household names now
Yeah,
that wouldn't have been, you know what I mean? So like, it kind of feels like it just takes one person to really make it happen, but that one person has to have like a positive energy to them to really spread names.
Well, I'll say something that'll tie into a topic that we're dealing with right now in me and Lowe's career, and probably your guys' careers and a lot of different other careers, and I'll explain. Is Adam Sandler was so good, and so, like, people don't understand how cool Adam Sandler is. Adam Sandler, when he left Saturday Night Live, he decided he was going to open up his own film company. He was going to cast his own people and make his own content and make his own brand. He sadly had some money to put into that, but he did that. He took that money that he got from Saturday Night Live and he said, you know what, I'm going to make my own stuff. And we saw that in Billy Madison, then Waterboy. That's all Adam Sandler's genius mindset of knowing how to own a company, knowing how to own his film company, knowing how to own his brand. And he did that all by himself. He had people around him, of course, but he did that with the mindset of, I'm going to do my success and I'm going to tie it into more success. Now, this ties into now is because right now, the film industry, just like a lot of different industries all across the board and all across the world, are now shut down and dying. And now us as creators and artists, now we have to push forward into the mindset of, nobody gives me an opportunity, I have to make an opportunity. I have to create at a level that we've never had to create before. Like even filmmaking, whether film industries move on. I thought about this yesterday because with filmmaking, I'm a storyteller. So my goal is to tell stories, even through my acting and all that kind of stuff, was always, how do I impact people on that level, on an emotional, spiritual, mental level. And moving forward, I thought, all right, if the film industry stopped today, it's not, because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Yeah. But let's just say it stopped today. Me, as somebody who loves film and who believes in film and believes in acting, what would I do? Well, I'd have to create it. I have to figure out how to do that. Because if nobody gives me that opportunity, I have to make it for myself. I have to make it not only for myself, but for other people as well. And you guys doing this podcast and other people out there who are doing their things, they have to create. And they have to find whatever's inside them, whatever greatness that God gave you, or whatever greatness you feel is inside you, which everybody has it. And you got to create on a level that is beyond right now. You know what I mean? Does that do you guys understand what I'm trying to say?
That's inspiring, man. Shoot. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm a very deep person, but you guys know what I mean, right? I mean, you guys are all creative. I'm all businessmen. Yeah. It's the same mindset. You guys know what I'm talking about.
I feel a little conflicted myself, because if I were to ever try to really get into like some acting or some kind of entertainment in television or films, I know my bread and butter is comedy. Mm-hmm. I love to be, and I feel like, because I've done a little bit of research, but I feel like a lot of people who start in comedy, it's just a different time because we have social media now. So I just want to ask you if you think there's any disadvantages into trying to get in the industry from a YouTube start, because I know there's times where like just I'm a fan of the Wild and Out show, and I watch like their casting calls and things like that, and they were kind of explaining that sometimes the comedians or the entertainers that get their start on social media aren't exactly respected the same way as people who have gone through a different path.
Yeah. That's a cool. Sorry, go ahead, brother.
I was just gonna ask how you feel about that, and if that if that really ties into more like major films or indie films, or like your genre of work that you've been in and out of.
We kind of spoke about that before the podcast, actually, but go ahead.
Sorry, so just make sure that I heard the question correctly. The idea of going through like social media and then going through like the old ways type of mentality.
Because you just said if nobody's willing to make a path for you, because obviously in this life nothing's just handed. I mean, sometimes you come across blessings, but for the most part, if you want something, you got to make it happen. So I see the most convenient and probably fastest and most efficient way for somebody to broadcast themselves the way they want to be broadcasted is through their personal social media / YouTube, Instagram, so on and so forth. So even though that would be my preferred platform and a lot of people's preferred platform to start something like this, just to get the ball rolling, is there a disadvantage to doing that because of possible, interruptions with connections to people in the industry who might frown upon the people starting in social media?
Yeah, not necessarily. I think it all goes down to talent as well. Like talent speaks for itself, and it really does. Many people in the industry. I won't mention names because this was like a personal conversation between them. But he was a very well-known director, and we had this amazing conversation. And I was very curious. This was just at a nightclub. We were having a conversation. I was very lucky to have this conversation with this individual, and he said. I said, dude, how do I do it? Like, I've been acting since I was 10. I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to be well known as far as just by my talent. And, I said, how do I do it? And he goes, you want to know the secret? And I said, yeah. And he leans in and he goes, be a great fucking actor. And that was it. And I was like, and then it was really simple. But then I thought about it and he was like, yeah, you want to be great at anything? Just be great at it. Let me give you an example. Before we had social media and all this kind of stuff, did Denzel have problems getting roles? We had a day where musicians were so good that people talked about them and spread that news.
Word of mouth, exactly.
Word of mouth. Now we have social media and we can do it even quicker, faster, even bigger. And it all goes back down to just the talent. That's why I think everything's kind of watered down right now in music, acting. But I think now social media, if you're good at it, if you're good at marketing, it helps you. So I think to answer your question, it really does help you. Does it hinder you? Not necessarily. I think people who are very old school, like Howard Fine, there's something very incredible going to those people who take the old ways very seriously, acting wise.
I feel like in that same kind of concept that you're talking about, like the only hindrance I could think of would be like if you come in as like a social media star to like an acting gig or something, and then think that you're hot shit just because you have 20 million followers or something. I feel like that'd be like the biggest hindrance is like we're not in your realm of social media or Instagram or Facebook or whatever. This is our job we're doing now. We're acting now. So if you can't do this job, I don't care how many followers you have. If you can't do the job, you can't do the job. Yeah. So I can see that being a hindrance in that regard. Or even just like, kind of like how Joey was talking about, like maybe old school people, like, as far as like, like Wild and Out, he was saying, like, I'm sure there's tons of guys on there that were like stand-up comedians and stuff versus guys who maybe only do skits or whatever. So they don't really get to showcase their ability to come up with things on the fly. But once you get into that field and you start doing it, then they don't have no choice but to respect you once you showcase that. No, I can do this too. Like how you guys stand up and tell jokes, I can do the same thing. I just haven't done it or haven't had the opportunity to do it yet. This is just my lane. This is how I got to where I am now. So, once you prove yourself, then it don't really matter, what somebody else says or their preconceived notions of you,
Well, I think that's why social media is so cool right now, is that we're able to record and put stuff out there much quicker than we've ever had before. So even if you're a stand-up comedian, I think I would tell stand-up comedians, like, if you can, some do, and you see this all the time, like, try to record your stand-up. If it's a good thing, post it. and that post will speak for itself. You know, that talent is going to speak for itself.
As I get older, there's a lot of little, like, what they call, like, cliches and little sayings to life that just become more and more clear. So, like, the quality over quantity thing hasn't been more clearer now. Like you said, it's so easy to put new information, new movies, new music, and everything out there. So it does feel watered down because you find yourself doing research and filtering and cycling through everything just to find the stuff that you like.
Well, Lo is actually a musician and a singer, and I've always wanted to get into music, but I'm sadly not good at singing. I'm working on it, but it sucks. But even her as a musician, we talk about music all the time and the quality of stuff. Because, you know, as creators, we talk about this stuff very in detail as what we're going to do next and how we're going to move on in our careers and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, music, very well-known things. People hear music, they don't listen to music. Like, if I gave you a song and I said, all right, could you tell me what this song's talking about? 80-90% have no idea what this song's talking about. They just listen to it because it became normal to listen to this thing. And that's why good music is so hard to find. You get into the details of good music and good artists, they're not well known. You got to like dive deep into YouTube and find these underground people. But then again, I'm so happy because it goes back to the social media thing. These people, these street performers now have a platform to record and put stuff out there. And it inspires me because I go, dude, these guys are, you know, out here on the street hustling, and now they have a way to perform and record, and their music can get out there now, and that's powerful.
And I got a question for both of you, actually. Since you guys have certain likes that people, I'm sure, like your agents know, and the people that the directors know, have you guys experienced any of them trying to like keyhole you into certain roles? Like if you want to expand the way you are, if you want to expand, you know, some of your acting talents or anything like that, if you want to branch off into other things, do you experience that at all? Like that hindrance?
I'm going to let Miss Mendez take this, and I'll even set it up for her because I'm fascinated by this as well. Because I was talking to another actress of mine, and it's harder for women in the industry than it is men. And it's very amazing to get a female's perspective about this. So I really want Lo to talk about it if she's comfortable talking about it. But for women, you know, age is a factor because that's how we see movies now. You know, it's always the young, best thing that's on the market now, and then it's on to the next. And, you know, even though they may be talented, you know, we've seen how the industry has evolved and changed just recently and how it's been for the past few years. And so moving forward, Ms. Mendez, is it difficult when you are, I'm going to be very blunt, when you're seen as just a pretty face and not a talented actress? Is it difficult? Because you're both. But I get you, I've seen this firsthand. It is very difficult because you're a beautiful woman. Go ahead.
Well, okay. How do I go on that? There is a difference, and it is difficult. I've had my fair share of pure judgment of looks, and that can come in as an asset or a liability. And that, you know, talking about you're pretty face, so they want more of you in a negative connotation. And I've had my fair share with managers who I've had a privilege to talk to, but they've just had just a negative or a different way of going through business. And you guys know about that, about the bad side of Hollywood,
the Weinsteins and all that.
Stuff. Yes, I personally have, you know, gone through a lot of managers just for that, and reasons why I swept through a lot of managers in the past because of that. I don't want to sell myself. I want to be true to myself. So that's being true and doing that has hindered a lot. But a lot of people do say, oh, because you're pretty, that's amazing. And it's amazing to an extent, you know, but and it's harder just to go, if you don't give them the beauty and the talent, they'll go somebody else, you know, and what they're asking for, you know. But I have my fair share of stuff. And
that would really upset me. I mean, just like, yeah, like a lot of people see the body and not the body of work, you know. So like, I could understand that, but I definitely, you know, if there's passion behind it, I'm glad you said that you've been through a handful of managers, because if you're not content, you have to move on.
Yes,
So
and
that's the most important part I heard. If you weren't content with it, I'm glad that you just kept moving.
yeah, and it's nothing compared to what Lowe's been through and stuff. But a lot of guys don't talk about this either. But there was a moment in time where I found, I won't mention his name, but I found this director. I was really fascinated by his work. I wanted to work with him, and it started off as a simple friendship. But the way he was a gay dude, and he was constantly talking to me, objectifying, and it got to the point where I was like, I can't talk to you, man. This is like,
Right.
this is professional. This is not, and that's the thing is the film industry, even though, and I think this is with artists in general, it's a different type of world because you're expressing yourself. You're artist. You do that, but then there's some people who express themselves too much and don't know how to rein it in or keep your mouth shut about these certain things. But that's the world, because there's something very freeing about it. It's still a business, but there's still parts of it that, because you own a business, because you own this money, you have that power to now change things or do things that became normalized. And so now we're trying to change that now. But going back to your question, like pigeonholing into types, I think it's very important for actors to really fight that by going back to marketing. Like, marketing is so important, because going back to your marketing and saying, okay, well, as an actor, I have to now, when I was working on marketing, I had this idea of like, okay, I want people to never put me in a box. And how do I do that? Well, I have to show that you can't put me in a box. And I think anybody who actually has seen my work, Lo, I don't know if B has ever seen my work before, but I really hear all the time that I went to a talent agency one time, and they were talking about representing me, and I sat down. I was so excited. It was my first talent agent that I got to talk to, and he said, "We're having difficulties marketing you." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, your scenes, your acting, you look different in everything." And I thought to myself, well, that's what acting is.
You want to look different.
Yeah, I want to be different. I want to do different. I actually found that as a compliment, even though it would probably hinder me in the future, because they're seeing money instead of talent, and it goes hand in hand. So, but I would tell actors to rebel and really, really focus on showing what you can do, even if it's putting it in your own hands and creating the scenes and creating the content and really pushing yourself to perform at different levels. Because that's really what acting is.
I kind of have like a little in-depth scenario question, and I'm gonna make a little analogy, and I just kind of want to see if like pick your guys' minds on actors' personalities and maybe kind of egos. So the analogy I'll use is like in music industry. I tell you, I'm super close to music, so I kind of feel this one.
That's good, man.
When it comes to getting like projecting yourself, like going back to what Daniel said, he said, do you guys find yourselves being managed or I don't know, people try to limit you to a certain type of role, right? Which is kind of what Daniel was saying. But then you said you can't do that, and you have to fight it and constantly look for other things, other things to dip your hands into. But I feel like, do people stop themselves from experiencing those other genres, those other roles, because they already know, or they have feelings up front that the outcome of the movie isn't going to be received well, even though they themselves got to show off a different side of their their performance? So like a lot of people in the music industry are good with music, and they'll start to get a little bit of name, and they'll go make a feature with somebody else who has a lot of, I would say, listeners, but they're not as talented as this person, but they won't make a song with this person. Just like kind of like circling back. So what I'm saying is, are actors not taking roles because of like a win percentage? Like how well is this movie gonna do? Even though I do get a chance to show off the other abilities that I have in acting, maybe I'm gonna stay away from this role anyway, because it's not gonna preview in all type of theaters and do numbers and this and that.
So you're basically just asking, like,
Oh, I got the question. Like,
you got it. Okay.
No, there's so, and I like, there's such a deep answer to that on
Yeah,
many levels.
I felt that.
I don't want to lose people. Like, we'll talk about it, but some of it's boring, some of it's interesting, depending on who wants to talk about it. But you were talking about like actors. When you get a part of a project, maybe even halfway through, do you realize if it's going to be good or not? Because there's so much that goes into a film. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like there are films that are good now that people were in it and they were like, this is stupid. Dude, when Star Wars first came out, they said this is gonna bomb, bro. Nobody's gonna see this. Like that's what's the idea. Like George Lucas was like, dude, you're an idiot. Nobody's gonna see this. You got a dog in a spaceship flying in space. Nobody's gonna listen to this, bro.
Yeah.
And then look what happened. So you don't know what a film is going to be or how it's going to come out until the very end. You look at Justice League. Justice League is a fantastic example of this. People were part of that, and there was one look of the film that halfway through they're like, no, the company decided they're going to go in another direction, and now the actors are stuck in this contract that I got to be in this film, and I'm going to give it all I got. But because of editing can also change the way an actor looks. It can make him look really good, or it can make him look really bad. You know,
The angle of the camera as well.
Yeah. So there's so many details to filmmaking that are interesting, but also boring at the same time. And there's also this gamble of it that, okay, well, we're gonna make this film the best we can. And halfway through, and this happens to a lot of people. There's many people who are now halfway through a film, and you got a choice. I don't know if you guys have talked about this. Ruby Rose left Batwoman.
Yeah.
And a prime example of that is because she's an actress who wants to get paid and enjoy what she's doing, and she's getting paid, but now people are saying, well, why the hell is this woman in this role? And, you know, like, she hears that every single day. And as an actor, we talked about this yesterday, I wouldn't want to deal with that. I'd be like, all right, these people hate me. You know, I can try my best, but I am trying my best. Now they're just saying I suck. So you know what? I'm going to take my loss. I'm going to take my paycheck that I already got, and I'm going to move on to another project. And I'm going to show that I'm a good actor.
And that's the part that's really hard about the entertainment industry, is that even though it can be a passion and you do it for your own fulfillment, the fact that it is entertainment, a big part of your passion and what you do is to please other people.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's always going to be a success fail rate with that. And that's actually kind of more what I was talking about. You know how like lawyers, you have some lawyers that are so like pristine and they'll only accept cases that they know they can win. That's why they have like 98, 99% success rate.
On Yelp.
And I feel like I feel like you can't afford to do that in the industry of film or music, because let's say I'm not the greatest actor, but I get a few roles, and I pick up a few roles in some movies that didn't do well, but I felt like I did well, and I was a different role every time. I used different forms of conversation, emotion, you know, all the details that you guys would be trained on and know about.
Yeah.
But I might miss out on really big roles moving forward because they look at my resume and they're like, well, the movies you were in didn't do so well. But they don't know that my energy going into those movies wasn't about the success of those movies. It was about me projecting myself in all those different films.
And this is what sucks about the business. And I think anybody who's really a part of it understands is that's the gamble of it. That's why it's so hard.
High risk, high reward type thing.
It's very high risk. It's very hard to get into it. And you have people who have success, who lose it, get it back. You know, you see that all the time with different examples like Robert Downey Jr. And Robert Downey Jr. his career was done for a moment. Nobody wanted to work with him. Mel Gibson, nobody wanted to work with him. They had to really fight to get their careers back. And they got lucky enough because of how
I gave up Lakers tickets.
He
was sitting next to Nicholson, damn it. What do you want from me?
But dude, dude, that was so good. I lost what we were talking about. What were we talking about?
I have like a couple of quick questions because we're kind of coming out of time real quick.
Okay.
Just like real simple stuff pertaining real quick to like acting on a professional level. Of course, as an actor, there comes rejection, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you guys kind of cope with that and just deal with it, you know, like, and just continue to pursue your career?
Ms. Mendez, you get more roles than I do. So
What? Not. It's not about rejections. How I take rejections and
Yes.
stuff. Oh, child. Let me tell you something. At first, it was hard. Trying your best and getting a no in your face. There was many times I went in, and actually before I was more fuller. And when I was more fuller, a lot of the casting directors just said, you were good for the part, but you're too tan, or you're too plump, you're too fat, you're not good. So a lot of that, and growing up and being a female or male, whatever it is, how does that affect your ego? But throughout life and stuff, after personal life hits you, your ups and downs, you learn along the way. And I just came to the conclusion, you're going to get a no, you're going to get a slap in the face. That's life. In this industry, you have to know that, deal with it, or get out of it. There's nothing in between. Because no one's going to be there to like kiss your boo-boos and stuff when you fall. You have to get up because we're all going through the same thing.
It's not how hard you get hit. It's how hard you get hit and keep moving forward.
Just know every closed door is another door for you that's going to be open in the future, and not to give up. And if they say no, someone else is going to say yes. Just keep on going, but do not let them dictate.
Wait, hold on, Dan Rathers. I got a couple of questions I want to ask because you guys mentioned it earlier, and I keep forgetting to ask it. But I do want to ask, how do actors get paid? Does it go off the end of the movie, how much it takes in, or is it in the contract in the beginning? Like, I want to be on this movie. I want to get paid this much.
It depends. Usually, if you do a bigger film, because most actors starting off, a lot of people think that you start with big films and you don't. You start off doing student films, you start doing small projects. And most of the time, starting off in your career, you're not really getting paid anything.
Right.
Sorry to break it to you. You're really not, because you're working on your material first. So you're working on free gigs, and so that's how it works. But once it grows, and the good news is once you become a successful actor and you are getting paid, usually you're on a contract. And then that contract, say I'm doing a feature film and I put in my contract that, okay, well, I'm going to pay you guys $10,000, okay? And say the film is super successful and we go over budget that what we make. Because the goal is every film company is a company. What they're doing is they want to make back what I just invested into a film, which on an average good film, you're looking at multi-million dollars. And you look at a Blumhouse film, you're like $8 million or whatever it is. They're hoping to make $8 million and plus some. So the moment that the movie makes plus some, then sometimes actors go into okay, well, if it's in my contract, I'm going to get paid even more because of success. Now, stories like this don't always happen that way. I think the movie of Friday is very interesting in this. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. It's like underground stuff if you're really into film. The actors that got paid during Friday, which it wasn't supposed to be anything, was like $2,000, $800, something like that. They got paid acting-wise to do that film. Now, when the movie blew up, did they get any money of that? No, because it wasn't in their contract.
Mm-hmm.
So they lost out on so much money, even though the film went on to be a cult phenomenon and it's still well known to this day. Those actors, $2,000 to be in that film.
I did hear about that, and I think also filming was done in less than 2 weeks, right?
Yeah,
that's why they got paid like, hey, we're gonna do this movie. We don't know how it's gonna do, but as a family, we're just gonna have fun and we're gonna do this and that. It turned out to be a big success, but because the paperwork was missing necessary words, you know what I mean? So like, that's gonna happen. But I feel like if you're not being paid financially, you're always being paid with experience. And,
right.
That's something you have to put in your mind, because that stops you from being discouraged in doing things pertaining to your passions.
Yes.
You have to learn whether it's good or bad.
And you start off with that, especially anybody who's really serious about acting, especially going very underground. Like, let's say, I just want to get into acting. I have no idea how to be an actor. You have to realize that in the beginning, it's sacrifice. It's going to take struggle. It's going to take work. You're probably not going to be paid anything.
People might not support you as well.
Yeah, like there's an emotional struggle with it. There's going to be people who are like, why are you doing this? It's
Get a real job.
Yeah, get a real job.
I'm trying, Mom. I'm trying.
I know. So
speaking of like the emotional stress, has there ever been like moments where either of you guys have like considered like just giving it all up?
I don't think I ever wanted to give it up, but when I was in the Army, that was the time where I couldn't act because, physically, like it was the last year before I was going to get out that I was even thinking about getting back into acting. And I started doing like short films and all that kind of stuff just to kind of practice because I missed it. And, yeah, man, it struggles because I don't think people understand the moments in those. Anybody who's great, everybody wants to wear the crown, but they don't realize how bloody it is,
Right.
how heavy it is when you actually are wearing it. And that takes a lot of work and sacrifice. And people want great things, but they don't realize that greatness is a heavy burden. And so doing stuff, you don't realize with like when you're sleeping in the back of the car, which I had to do, to be at a acting class and all that kind of stuff. Like people don't hear that part of the story. If I ever become successful, which I hope to do, they'll never know that part of the story. They'll just say, "Oh, it's very easy. Now I can do it." No, not everybody can do it. That's why people who are great for a reason. And I'm not saying I'm great, but I'm just saying that mindset. You have to have that mindset to want to do that,
Right.
and in a humble way.
What is the? I just I want to ask this just to ask this. What do you guys remember your least favorite roles?
Yes.
That would definitely tie into the question I have about your worst experience with acting.
Yeah, we gotta know, man, because we gotta.
I got a funny story for an audition. Like, there's more to this, but as far as if this is part of the question, terrible audition. I went to an audition, right? I walked into the room. There was a whole bunch of actors in there. I was like, what the heck is this? Because usually when you do an audition, it's you're in there, and then the director's in there, unless your co-star's in there. So I go in there, wrapped around the table. The guy is acting kind of weird. He's kind of like wobbling. I'm like, dude, I think this guy's drunk. And he's like saying some random stuff. We get a knock on the door. Police. I'm like, what? We're in like an actual building. So the manager comes in with the police and they check this guy. He had cocaine on his bag, bro. And before this even happened, before the cops even rolled in, I didn't know anybody in the room, but I saw the guy to the right of me, and I was like, dude, we need to bounce. Like, I was a cop in the army. Like, I was like, dude, this is weird. Like, we need to get out of here. This is not a normal situation. But all of them were new, so they had no idea that. Some of them were like, this is my first audition, and I'm so excited. And I'm like, dude, this is not an audition. I think we're part of a drug trade, bro. What's going on? I even left and I said, dude, because they were all new, too. I was like, dude, you do not need to do this. Like, do not do this. Bro,
little did they know it was a shakedown about to go down.
I know, bro. They could have been part of a snuff film, bro. What about you, Miss Mendez?
Oh, so interested. I forgot the question for a second.
Just your worst experience.
Least favorite role or bad role. You know what I mean?
There was one experience where it was just a whole damn chaos, man. It was so bad to the point of like they were changing the script throughout the whole entire when the actual filming, and then knowing also that there was parts in the script that there was like some kissing scenes with the male, and the guy had bad hygiene. I mean, just the nastiest. Didn't know how to kiss. And I'm trying to be in love with this guy, right? God. I'm trying to be like, oh, mi amor. But with that onion breath and that cocky ass attitude, I hated this guy beyond like anything. So that was like one of the most challenging to be lovey, happy. He stinks, bad attitude, changing the script. What the fuck's going on? Sorry, what the hell's going on? Yeah. It was just really bad.
Breath smell like 8 cans of
But nothing compared to like Narcos over here. Having drug dealing here during audition.
No,
that's pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty bad.
But it's also that's what I'm saying. The industry is very weird. It is business. When you get higher up, it is that. But you have independent filmmakers who are not part of a business who just want to create film, and you get those weird moments and those weird incidents.
It kind of sounds like at the beginning of your journey or a person's journey trying to get into the film industry, it's kind of like give it everything you got nothing to lose. And then once you've created a consistency, it kind of feels like it transitions into tread carefully, but with confidence. And I think a lot of people might have issues deciding when to flip that switch, and that's when they kind of either fall out of some roles or fall out the industry and then kind of reinvent themselves and come back. I mean, is that something you could probably agree to? Because obviously you're not going to get known unless you push and put yourself out there, but once you're out there, you you know what I mean? Like, you really do just kind of have to really be careful with your moves, because if you choose the wrong movie, then directors look at you differently. If you play a role the way you wanted to play it, but it's not received well, then all of a sudden you're looked at differently. So it when people say it's a really hard industry, I don't doubt that for 1 second, because I'm an overthinker and I'm already putting myself in people's positions. Like, I don't know if I could put up with it. I would probably explode.
It's a gamble.
Yeah. It's definitely a change, because that's the hardest thing, is when you're in the industry, and there has been people, like, I love people like Dave Chappelle, when you're in this moment where you have a choice, do I keep my morals, do I keep my ideal of who I am, do I stay true to myself, or do I pretend to be this person over here? And that's kind of like what's happening now, even with social media. You have so many people pretending to be somebody, but not really. It's like people are now performing their lives and not really living their lives anymore. And so in this world, you'll get to a point, I think everybody does, but especially in this industry, where people are going to come up to you and be like, okay, well, we want you to, if me and Loren are in a relationship, and say, they think we're both successful, or they think she's not successful. This has happened a lot. They'll come to you and be like, dude, this girl is not good for your marketing. Like, dump her, get with this girl.
Mm-hmm.
Set it all up. Like, these things happen, man. They fake a lot, and so you will sell your soul, to the devil, whether you believe in the devil or not, or even if you don't believe in spirituality or anything. There are dark things in this world, and this industry can put you on that line to where, okay, how do we chase the light and chase the art and chase the glory and chase the good things with this?
Mm-hmm.
Tell stories.
The part I find hard to kind of, I feel, okay, going back to music, I feel a connection to a lot of the artists that I follow, because over the years I've gotten to take the time to get to know them, not just through their music, but maybe through social media platforms. So I support the people who I like as people, but it's a lot harder to do that with actors.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where actors don't get a lot of credit, and that's where I feel like there's definitely some people who are very well known in Hollywood and other film industries, who are very popular, but they're not very liked.
Yeah. It sucks when it sucks when you're seen as like an object or a product more than a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what happens. How do the people are looking at us? We're trying to chase a dream or chase whatever we're doing. We all do it for different reasons, but we have these reasons that we do it. And when we get in those rooms and we're in those moments of, okay, I get this part. Let's say you're finally there and you finally get that part. You're in this point where someone's looking at you and going, listen, I can't make money off you. You're not. I can't make a living off you. And so it becomes this thing where you put yourself out there, and it's, I think auditions very much are like dates. You get there and it's like, all right, how do we work together? Can we have an intimate relationship? In the way that I mean intimacy is the fact that, can we get to know each other? Can we grow? Can I open myself up to you? Can we talk? There's all those layers to it.
It's really, and that's something about this pandemic that's going on. A lot of actors, a lot of famous people who have, been well known for the entertainment industry, are now going live via social media, and we're kind of getting a better feel as to, oh, that's what their house looks like. That's what their yard, like, it's kind of more like I feel like I'm getting to know these people and not just through the screen. And I think that's something that's really great that's going on right now. And going back to what I said, appreciating somebody for who they are as opposed to just what they do, so that they're not just an object. Like, one of my favorite actors, you guys remember that movie Ghostbusters or Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Rick Moranis?
Yes.
He was so, like, he's not the best lead role. He's not the most handsome guy. He's not the tall. He's just a regular schmegular dude who plays really interesting roles, who's smart. He doesn't have like the strongest voice. He has kind of like a little quirk when he talks too. He disappeared from acting because his wife passed away, and he left to go raise his children.
Right.
completely dipped the whole scene. And now that his children are grown, he's considering coming back to acting. And that's like that, those kind of stories is what makes me gravitate toward people. So no matter what kind of movie he puts out moving forward, I'm gonna go watch it because I respect this person.
Is that the guy that do Revenge of the Nerds?
Yes. No, wait. Was he on there?
I don't think I think.
Oh no, sorry, no. Spaceballs. That's the one I'm thinking of. Spaceballs.
Spaceball. He was the gatekeeper, or what was he? The key master in Ghostbusters.
Of course, you want to stay around and have some chips and dip?
Yeah, but you said something. You said something earlier that really tickled my fancy. But by the way, this is Daniel's conspiracy corner. We talked about
just
I
in
love
time.
now we're getting to the deep and dark. I love it. Let's go, bro.
Because you mentioned selling your soul to the devil. Have you been approached by anyone, saying, "Oh, if you come to one of these weird little parties or something like that, like real eyes wide shut style," or have they, said, "Hey, sign this contract" or anything?
I've never had eyes wide shut type of moments, but there have been moments where I've seen the underbelly of Hollywood. And I'll give you an example. And I'm not proud of this, but these are just the journeys that I've been on. And I remember meeting people, I think we were in West Hollywood or anything, and we were around very wealthy, known people. And and like the clubs were shut down, and we'd go even darker. We'd go into the AMs where we'd go into like the underbellies of Hollywood. I don't know if people have ever been there, but people are doing like cocaine in the open and all that kind of stuff. I never did that, but that was the environment that I was around. And I say this because I was sitting there and I was looking around and I was like, dude, I do not belong here. Like, this is not it. This is not what I want to be.
I'm trying to go to bed.
Yeah.
I got work in the morning.
We're going to 4 a.m. I got church in the morning, bro. I gotta go. Like,
Hollywood Boulevard starts to look like Zombieland, and you're like, bro, go to sleep. It's 4:30.
But it's true, man. Like money does not buy happiness, man. And I really do try to chase. Like, I hope I have money, but I hope I have money in the idea that I hope God blesses me so that I can give back, or that I can invest in my film company. Like, I want to be able to do that, take the money and give back.
Like the freedoms.
Yeah, the freedoms. And financial freedom does that. But even if you're not, like, I'm not financially successful right now, and I still feel pretty free. And I think a lot of people cage themselves in a lot of mindsets. But as far as selling your soul, man, it happens all the time. You see it. You know who I'm really proud of right now? And I know this is getting even in deeper, but I'm very proud of her, is like Mia Khalifa. Mia Khalifa got out of the porn industry.
Time out really quick.
I'm telling you.
Time out real quick.
Some people may not see that as the come up. Some people are upset by that, but yeah.
It's just funny you say that, because I totally brought her up on the last episode.
Dude, I'm proud of her, man. I actually sat down and I watched, because I research. I'm a very deep thinker. Like, I watch stuff. I love to see, what's happening in the world. And I saw that, and she was sitting there as somebody who went through a lot of stuff, who was very open about the choices she made, the mistakes that she made, and she was opening up herself in a way. And that it takes a lot of courage. But man, those type of things, like filmmakers, I know a friend who I won't say names, but he was a filmmaker. He wanted to be filmmaker. He wanted to create films. That was his goal. But because he couldn't create film, what was he doing? He got into porn. He started directing porn. Like, people don't understand the struggle of trying to make $1 and how easily you can go down this rabbit hole of, And he after the third scene or something, he was like, I can't do this anymore. They even offered him double. He's like, I can't do it. The world behind the scenes is hard for people to live with.
Yeah.
Even in film, like, people go to watch film for entertainment. They don't understand that those people who create the film are doing it because it's their work. It's their job. I go here so I can make a paycheck, so I can go home and feed my family. Actors want to act to be in big films, but they don't make money. So what do? They do commercials. They do things, and then they get to the point where, like, I need to survive. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And I'm not proud of it, but people have offered me to do things like that, like to do porn and all that kind of stuff. And that happens a lot. And you're in this moment where you're like, dude, I'm struggling with the dollar, man. What am I going to do? And you get those questions like internally, and you have a choice to make. Do you chase the light or do you fall into the darkness? And that's a very deep question, I think, for anybody. But in this industry, it's very easy to fall into those categories. How do I not try to be true to myself, but how do I perform for others so they can like me? And it's almost like because society is the way that it is, we have people now in this mindset of, but I want to create and I want to be a part of them. But instead of leading them, you're now conforming to them. And that mindset's a very deep mindset.
What is in Batman? You die a hero or you live enough to be
I love it. The Dark
villain?
Knight. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself.
And it's just true.
It's true. Yeah, it's very true, man.
Hey, just to throw that in there because you guys mentioned it, I would not mind being in commercial after commercial after commercial because some of my favorite personalities were in commercials. Hey, Billy Mays here with another product for you. You know, and going back to people I could never be. There was Tony Little with the Gazelle. You see how like you remember their names. Like, don't get it twisted. You remember their names.
The guy that told everybody to go back to school. I have.
Oh yeah! Sorry.
and the ever so famous. But wait, there's more.
What about that girl? I talk about this all the time. What's that girl who's really famous for the
Progressive?
Yeah,
Flo,
yeah.
Oh my, yes.
Flo.
Subway, Sprint.
And like
Listen,
three people from the what's that? JG Wentworth, 877 Cash Now. You guys seen those commercials? There's like 3 or 4 faces in there. If you have a long term settlement, but you need cash now. Like, you know that guy. You know what I mean? Like you can spot that guy on the bus.
On the bus.
I always say this all the time. People like Flo, who's a very talented at what she does, and that girl's rich for the rest of her life. She will never be able to.
How about new? That one, the men's scrub soap, that's new now, like on YouTube.
What?
Oh, that guy. He's like in a bunch of ads, and it's like,
yes.
Like most of your soaps are.
That is the most.
Like
How about there was one a few years ago, the Old Spice guy.
Yeah,
he still does that.
That is what I like. Those commercials. Like.
You get paid money. The only problem is that sometimes you can it's the reputation, and then sometimes you can get lost in it. Like I said, Flo is and she's talented at what she does, but the problem is she will never be seen as a serious actress
or
in a film.
Extra hard.
You put yourself in a corner.
She's famous, but she got herself trapped in a corner now. And I hope that I would love to see her do other stuff, but that's the reality of the business side of it.
Mm-hmm.
That woman will never do film. You'll never see that girl do film. And maybe she wants to do film. I guarantee that woman.
Well, like that one Mia, whatever, Khalifa, her name, what you said. She's changing from porn to movie.
Yeah, now she's
so can Flo.
Yeah.
So anything is possible. Don't limit yourself.
No, you're right. It's very possible to do it.
All right, I got a real quick for everybody. If at some point in your life they were making, well, I don't know, maybe we'd have to be a kind of time travelers, but if somebody was making a movie about your life, everybody can answer this. Who, if it wasn't you and you could choose an actor to play you, who would you choose to play you in a movie about you?
Denzel Washington.
Come on, really?
Yes, Denzel.
You gonna walk into your kitchen like talking to your mom in that way? Nah, I told you last time. If I come home and I don't get no money.
Dude, did you see the Tenet? Did you see the Tenet trailer?
I have not.
I'm telling you,
seen it.
He was talking. He said one line. I said, "Dude, you sound just like your dad." Like, dude, this is crazy. I was like, he sounds just like his daddy.
All right, so Brandon's going with Denzel. Who you guys got?
Dude, I thought about this. Originally, I was going to say Leo, but the more I think about it, I would do Tom Hardy, and I'll tell why. Because if you go deep into my story, I dealt with a lot of stuff, and it's very traumatizing and very angry. And I would need somebody to really show those type of emotions in those moments. Tom Hardy would be able to do that.
I picked Denzel because I feel like it would take him out of roles that he's used to and make him have to be like, how do he has to embody me. Like, it would be very different for him. And I think because it's Denzel, it would add to like the hilarious moments even
Yeah,
more.
that's why I'd love to see it too. I'd pick Donald Glover, just because I feel like we're both kind of goofy like
I see
that. So I really want to see how if he could see all the pictures of me or all, I could give him every detail about myself. How he would be like, "Nah, this is you. This is who you are," and be like, "Oh, okay."
I'm gonna switch.
Go ahead,
on you.
Loren.
I have a question for all of you. Are you ready for this? All right, I'm about to flip the script on you guys. Here we go. You had a movie, right? And they said, all right, we have to title it. What is the movie that embodies your life? What is your title that you would like to put on that film? A documentary of you guys.
Mine will be Overcomer.
Okay.
Because I overcame so much shit. Sorry.
My Side of the Mountain. I know it's a book, but that's what I'd pick.
Oh, that's
Okay,
good. That's
I see
That's a
you.
good
All
one.
right.
I'd watch that one.
Shoot.
I have no idea.
Is that the title? I have no idea.
I have no idea.
I'm really creative, but this is something I'd probably think of over the course of years. So it's really hard to put me on the spot for
It
that.
makes sense. Yeah.
I'll let Brandon go. Maybe he come up with something, and I'll BS something at the end. I don't know.
I think I would just say shoot your shot.
That's it? Shoot your shot?
Shoot your shot.
A lot of things that I've done in life have just been on like a sheer whim.
Yeah.
Like this podcast, playing football in high school. Like none of this stuff was like, oh, like I had an inkling for it or something. Like nothing. I wasn't gravitating towards none of this stuff. It was just like, okay, I'll do it. Army. Like, oh, fuck it, why not? Let's do it. And I went through with it. Oh, damn, I'm doing this. Oh, damn, this is crazy. I'm actually going through with this. This is crazy. But there was never anything, like a lot of things in my life was never like I was influenced or kind of like had a want to really do all these things. I just like, oh, football? All right, let's do this. Let's go to a football meeting and let's go play it.
Yeah.
Army? All right, let's do this. This is I'm broke, so I need some money. Let's go do this. Stuff like that. So just shoot your shot.
I'd probably go like something kind of like Inside the Mind of the Renaissance Man, something like that. Because I got so many different hobbies, and it's kind of conflicting in my life because sometimes I feel like I don't ever finish a project because I have so many interests. I just move on to the next one, and I'm an overthinker, so it's totally.
I think I relate.
Unfinished projects.
Yeah,
so many of those.
I think that's anybody who has brilliant minds. I think they go through that.
But then you come back to it after a while.
Yeah, you do. Like there was a story idea that I had when I was, I think, 14 years old. That even to this day, I go, I have to create that in some capacity. Going back to the question, I think that my title would be Unbroken. And I think I call that because it's very deep, but I think when I think about my life and what I've been through, I think about all the times that I've been there and I've looked at the other side and I've looked at, how can I stay true to who I am? And even with all the scars, even with all the broken parts, I still stand there very true to who I am, very unbroken.
I just even kind of look at like your military career that I was there for, and then like just knowing some of the things that you've been through, and just like, man, I don't think I've ever seen you maybe mad like maybe one time in life. So it's really hard for me to imagine like you ever being broken. So I think that's a great title for you.
Dude, I think that's the part, like even now, like trying to go forward, I think one of my hopes, no matter what I do, because there's a lot that I want to do in life. I've even thought seriously about trying to get into politics and all this kind of stuff. Like it's not something that I can do now, but there's hope that,
one day
that if I can inspire enough people, that if God wills me to lead those people in that way, then I would do it. But even then, sorry, I was going to say something.
House of Cards remake? I'd watch that.
House of Cards remake? Yeah. No, but there's just like, I'm here to take the role from Kevin Spacey. It's like, I want to see how it is.
Real quick, because this is totally going on for a while, and I mean,
Dude,
I would love to do this a lot longer. But real quick, I just want to kind of give you the floor and just kind of, if you guys have any projects or anything that you guys want to kind of highlight, anything that you've ever done in the past, anything that you maybe hope to work on in the future, anything like that, go ahead and talk about it. And then right after that, we'll go into our last little segment that we call Something You're Messing With. And it'll just be basically you guys just anything that like you have an interest in, a show, a hobby, whatever it is, you can talk about it and kind of highlight that real quick at the end. But
Absolutely.
yeah, go ahead.
Miss
Okay,
Mendez.
to close it with, so I'm start speaking Spanish. Mi nombre es Loren again. My name is Loren again. But I'm actually working on music and more of project as well for scripts. But all of that will for sure be posted on my IMDb or on my Instagram, which is lowercase I, Loren, Loren, Mendez. You could go look on there. I'll start posting stuff and you'll see my extent of work. But there's a lot coming this year and I'm super excited. And so is Mr. Dillon LeMaster over here with
Yes.
his feature films and such.
I'm very excited. With everything going on, it's been kind of hard, but I'm really sticking to it as far as acting right now is on hold. I'm looking for work. I'm always very serious about what I do and what I chase and what I'm a part of. It's very much why my career will probably be a very long one because I'm very
And it's about the journey rather than destination.
It's the intangibles, man. It's that stick-to-itiveness,
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I'm very proud of everything that I do, but it's also one of those things that I don't sell out. But things that I'm working on acting-wise, nothing at this point except for helping people in the industry right now trying to start their grounds and everything. I'm writing quite a bit. Goal was to still do a feature film this year. Nothing's in the work right now, but just writing. I was serious about getting back into competing and everything like that. And hopefully we'll be able to train a little bit longer and get back into the world of MMA or fighting in some capacity. And then, yeah, man, it's always my goal to help people, which my door is always open every single day. I mean, it's for every single person, 24/7, day or night. You can find me at Dillon LeMaster. At Dillon LeMaster with everything, honestly. www.DillonLeMaster.
He's not lying, to be
I know.
honest, yes.
I got so lucky.
So unique.
Yeah, and everybody who's going through something right now, I'm here for you.
You're not
And
alone.
you're not alone.
Absolutely not. No, to be honest, you're not alone at all.
You're not alone, and I really do mean that without any joking around. I know it's really tough times right now, and the world is changing, and we're changing as people, and it's very important that we keep a positive mindset, that we keep a serious mindset on what the future is going to be and how we're going to shape it. And it's a very deep question that we all have to ask ourselves, but we need to move forward in that capacity. So I really hope everybody's doing good out there. I pray for you. I think about you, and yeah, I'm very happy to be a part of this. Taylor, you're my brother, bro. I'm so blessed to have been part of this, and I wish nothing but the best for
Absolutely.
you and your guys.
I'm glad you guys are both here too. This has been amazing.
I know,
This
bro.
has been wonderful.
I'm so happy to have been part of it.
Just real quick, where you guys? I know Brandon said you guys drove down from somewhere. Where are you guys coming out of?
Rocking Long Beach.
Long
Jeez.
Beach.
Oh man, we will have to quarantine now.
LBC, boo-boo.
LBC. Yeah, no traveling, bro.
What's that?
So we'll wrap up here then with our last little segment that we like to call Something You're Messing With. Like I said before, just anything like a show, a song, even whatever you guys have. Daniel had one, for an example. Daniel at one point brought up a Rubik's Cube that he bought. Joey even brought up a meme at one point. For me, I'll start it off like usual. This week, I kind of got a project going that I'm really excited about. So a while ago, PSN they discontinued their working with Facebook, so you can't just kind of upload things to Facebook right away anymore, like you could back in like a couple of months ago. You can only upload to like Twitch or stream on Twitch or upload to YouTube, things like that. If you want to share videos or whatever that you've been doing, you can just click the share button on PS4 and it'll record the last 10, 20, 30 minutes or whatever. You can always edit it and, make a montage of your stuff on there, but it's kind of simplistic and kind of basic. Since I have the editing software now, I'm really super excited to be able to create a Call of Duty montage for myself. This will be the first one I ever made. I'm super stoked about it. I got a bunch of footage already in my laptop now, in this USB actually. So I'm little by little, I'm taking the pieces and editing the bits and pieces together so that I can kind of hopefully come up with something cool that people will watch, and be like, oh man, that's super cool. And my ultimate goal with that obviously is to maybe make another, piece of the show, as far as like, oh, we also stream too. Check us out on Twitch, check us out on YouTube, or wherever we're streaming at for the day or whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I'm messing with right now. So yeah.
I like it, bro.
I'll go next. I'm messing with, and I know not everybody's going to be able to understand this or not know. There's a music production program called Logic Pro, and Logic Pro X has a new update 10.5, and in that update they upgraded their beat machine to where it's like a step sequencer. So if anybody knows about like music production, they had like the originals like FL Studio, Fruity Loops, where you just have a loop going over every 8 bars or 16 bars. They upgraded everything. It's so easy to use, and if you have Logic Pro, I suggest you download that recent download, because that step sequencer is the shit. I've been making beats in like 7 to 10 minutes every night, just like 5-6 beats, just to mess with it, because it's so easy, so convenient, and it's hella fun. I be at home. I won't lie, I be at home high as hell off the marijuana, making beats and freestyling myself to sleep.
Illegal.
So that's what I'm messing with.
I'll go next. I'll give our guests the floor after I'm done. I mentioned mine earlier. This movie called Underwater, starring Kristen Stewart. It was really, usually when I get Redbox movies, I get one and I return it immediately. I actually sat with this and watched it a couple of times. I really enjoyed it.
So it's worth it? Do you honestly say it's worth it? Is it worth watching?
It's definitely worth watching. It's one of those sci-fi movies. And then, but the part that because I asked you guys earlier about being keyholed into certain roles and all that. I guess the proper one is called pigeonholing. But the crazy part about this movie that I actually caught on to was that she took. There's this stigma out there about women aren't that strong and stuff like that, and she basically took everything and ran with it, and she was just like, they got to a certain point where they had to crawl through some point, and they were like, oh, well, the men are too big, they're too husky, and then she was just like, I'm the perfect size, I got this, y'all sit back here because you're too big to fit anywhere, and I'm gonna go ahead and crawl up in there. Like, she took all the negative things and used them as a positive within this movie, definitely concerning women, and it was actually pretty refreshing to see that. So I definitely want to tell everybody to go ahead and watch that movie.
Thank you, man. I've been wanting to see that, actually. I heard it was really good.
Anything you write? I am writing and going to release a song that I wrote. I play the uke as well. It's called Everything Will Be Alright. And that being said, it's because a lot of things like everybody else has been going through things, but my personal self, I've been through abusive, you name it, like anything abusive I've been through, about suicide, about, my father dying. A lot of the times I've been to the point of I wanted to give up, but then knowing that, if you keep on going, you will see brighter days. As cliche as that sounds, you will see brighter days. So this song has until I'm 25. So after all my 25 years of being in this life has been summed up in that song. And it's taken me so long to even release that song because of the whole impact and abuse that has been recently 3 years ago, to be honest, to release that song. And it's really like something really close to me, and I'm going to release that. And also some projects, personal, I'm going to release that as well. But that's the first one in my mind that I'm actually working on. Follow me. I'm sorry.
That's good. We'll make sure we drop your guys handles to whatever we can find you guys work at.
I need you to see. No, I am sorry. I'm sorry. Just
go ahead, Tom.
What I'm working on right now, as far as just anything we're working on and all that kind of stuff.
It could be something that you're enjoying, even like Daniel had the movie.
You could have stumbled upon a new candy bar. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just something you're messing with, random.
Yeah. Well, dude, I'm right now, what I'm really messing with is writing. Like I said, my feature this year is very important to me. So now with COVID-19, it's about how to find a good story and be able to plausibly do it, on a low budget or on whatever budget we're able to do in the future. So finding that story that I know that can inspire people and work towards what I want to do, because a lot of people don't know this, but I want to open up my own film company as well. So I want to start creating films.
Amen.
So that's something I'm working on. I'm very serious about music. I suck at singing, but
No,
I'm
you
actually
don't.
working.
He does
I'm
not
working.
suck. Stop. I'm not
I'm
going to talk now.
working.
He does not suck at singing. He just has a big expectation of himself. He's amazing at singing, and he's working at it. He's going to do really good.
Thank you, babe. It's just, I really hope to get into music here soon. And film and music is kind of the things that I'm working on right now. And then also just moving forward, man, I've really thought about getting back into police work. I've really thought about doing that.
MMA as well.
Yeah, MMA is something else I'm trying to really do. I don't know how we're going to compete. Like I said, everything's changing right now. So even though we're working on stuff, it's so unknown about the frontier that we're doing. And so, yeah, right now, my main mission and what I want to do is just create. I want to keep creating. I want to work with people like you, brother, and so many other people and really create right now, because it's really important for us to do that, to really inspire, to motivate, to create escapism. So that's what I'm working on right now, for sure, moving forward.
Yeah.
And like that,
I play a little ukulele myself.
Okay. Okay. Take your
I do the electric.
We'll have a little session. I'll bring my ukulele out. It's in the car. I got you.
And just like that, it's a battle.
a versus battle uke style. I feel it. Okay. I don't play it that well. I actually have nerve damage in my left hand now, so like I only got feelings to like 3 of my fingers.
You can sing, rap, whatever you want. I got you on the uke.
I do it all. Okay.
All right.
I'm telling you, this voice acting thing is something I think I want to be in radio, because I would like to be kind of like a on radio comedy personality, because I think using your voice to that, I kind of have this bit where I sing new age songs in the style of like Frank Sinatra, and that's kind of like my thing moving forward. But you keep your ears open for that one. I'm not ready for that yet. I still got to try to find some popular songs.
It's all good. You're on the verge of it, though. You're good. Can't wait.
And I guess if that's pretty much everything, this will be the end of the show. And all right, Piglets, this has been another installment of Culture by the Uncultured. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Culture by the Uncultured. Remember, Piglets, Culture by the Uncultured is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. We hope everyone out there is staying safe.
Yeah.
If you can't be safe, be deadly. Catch you guys next time. Later.
Hey, look,
Adios.
I'm Picasso. I don't get it. You want cultured swine?